Hello, and welcome to another episode of the podcast, where we look to reassure you that football is fixable. As usual, I've got Cess here, and I think we're both, how are you feeling, Cess?
That was a nervy one. Do you have any fingernails left?
No. Oh, I haven't got any breath left either. So we're recording this just after the England game against Slovakia, and what a stressful hour and a half, 2 hours that was.
Yeah, I mean, if we get I hope there's an award for making things look a lot harder than they should, because the last two games...
We're definitely guaranteed at least one trophy then, if that is an award.
Yeah, absolutely, because the last two games, Slovenia and Slovakia, they're the two of the bottom four lowest FIFA ranking teams in the whole tournament.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we struggled through a 0-0 and scraped through in extra time 2-1 against the other one.
You know what, though? I thought there was some... Well, before the game went, it tipped on its head and it was all over the place. There were some things I was actually quite pleased to see. Did you notice the defensive line? Gareth seemed to say to his defenders, push the defensive line further forward. And they're kind of playing closer to the midfield line.
Yeah, he finally did that, didn't he? You could see that the fullbacks were told, basically, you can go past the halfway line, Trippier,
Yeah, and Walker, and then that helped our press as well. We seemed to create a lot more chances. We looked a lot more dangerous. The players were able to put the pressure onto the Slovakia defence. They couldn't get out from the back. They had to keep going long. So we seemed to look a lot more dangerous, I thought. It's the best I've seen us play pretty much since that first 20 minutes of the Serbia game.
Yeah, I think it was just a shame that the players just didn't play well in general. So the momentum kind of shifted very quickly and easily, because the one kind of negative, I suppose, the first criticism that I have is that our high press wasn't as good as Slovakia's counter-attack. If you're going to do a high press, then you're going to be a lot more exposed at the back, and they were able to expose us very easily. And I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that, quite evidently, we hadn't really had time to practice the high press. It must have been...
Yeah, everyone's been calling for it, but it seems like it's a sort of more reactive decision.
Yeah, something that Southgate pretty much thought in the last few days, probably. And because of that...
We've got the players for it. That's the thing. You've got pace at the back. You've got Walker. You've got, the Man City defenders, Stones and Walker, who are used to playing on the halfway line. Gehi's no slouch. He's a good player.
Yeah.
So, and we've got Trippier's experience. Between those four, you think, okay, they could manage this quite well. But yeah, like you say, that seemed a bit like they weren't familiar with the system.
Yeah, and we'd press high, but then as soon as we lose possession, we were chasing the ball, and we should never really have to chase the ball. The players were out of position. The referee was very keen to give yellow cards out very early.
Which I thought it was poor, wasn't it?
Yeah, it made... we had a centre-back and Mainu getting yellow cards within the first 5-10 minutes, which meant that their aggressive or press is not as aggressive as it can be.
Yeah, and then you're on kind of a warning, so you can't really make any challenges. You have to be really careful, don't you? It kind of stifles the whole game. And then there were decisions, there were fouls going on later in the game that were worse, but the ref couldn't, because he didn't want to send anyone off.
Yeah,
it was such a poor refereeing performance, really.
It really was. Yeah,
and that was on both sides. There were fouls that weren't fouls for both teams. It was just unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was nice to finally see a bit of pressing, high press. It's just a shame that we're still having to experiment effectively. It's something that should have been tested out before the tournament. Like we said before about the friendlies. They need to be utilised to practice the press, as well as finding out who's best in what position.
Which player plays in them? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To find the right system. But I thought that was a positive. And I was actually, during the week, I was thinking, I had this real sort of reflection on Southgate. Thinking, everyone's against him at the moment, including me. I'd been criticising him in recent episodes. But one thing he has done is, I think we had the best defence before this sort of weekend's games. I think England had the best defensive record in terms of how many chances we're conceding to the opposition.
Yeah.
If you think the Denmark goal was a worldie, it was just a kind of his amazing goal, but it was not something you can really account for. Maybe you could have pressed a bit more and covered that space, but other than that, I think we've got amongst the best sort of XG one of
against,
XG against, for goals conceded. But so I think that's a sign of, that's our shape. The pragmatic style of Southgate is kind of helping our defensive way, but it's been stifling our forward play. So what does he do? We go into this system where we're being more forward, but then we concede a goal.
Yeah, and that's the problem that I mentioned before, where if you're going to have a system where, because you don't have much time in international duty to really fully understand the team tactics, at the very least, you can get the best out of the players in their best positions. So you got to play people at the very least in the right position.
No, never. That's what a silly idea that is.
Yeah, Foden on the left, Trippier on the left, Trent in the middle.
And then we'll put, I think, did you feel that Southgate is kind of, well, I know he sort of says that he doesn't listen to anyone, but it certainly seemed like, him playing Trent in the middle.
He listens to us,
then. Well, we hope so, but not fully. He listens to some bits, but not everything. So then he chooses bits and pieces that don't necessarily fit. We kind of say, if you're going to do this, you have to do it this way. So he'll go and do something, but he won't do it the way we tell him to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I said to have Mainu in the midfield next to Rice, because we need someone who's a ball-playing midfielder like that.
Yeah.
If he's going to play that the way that he wants to play. But he kind of chucks him on at random points in games. And and we don't. And if we are going to do that, again, it has to be with the right defensive line. And it seems like it's all over the place. Yeah. And then Ian Wright says Saka, we should put him on the left side. I love righty and everything. Saka's left-footed. He must go on the left. That is not his best position. That's going back to what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, and that happened during the game. We bring, let's bring Palmer on for Saka on the right. Palmer's not a right winger. What's he doing?
Yeah, see, so this bit, I kind of agree with you and disagree with you in a sense. So I wouldn't necessarily say you were very negative about Palmer, but you were very pro-Saka in a sense. So I don't think you necessarily saw the positives that came out of Palmer being on the right-hand side. However...
Do you think he had a good game?
I think he was decent, yeah. I mentioned to you that you had your rose-tinted Saka glasses, didn't you?
Saka-tinted glasses.
Yeah, but I think one of the problems is that because of maybe naivety from Southgate in taking one injured recognised left-back, we were kind of cornered into that situation. He clearly didn't want to trust Trent on the left-hand side, so he thought, Saka has played there before and he is left-footed, let's put him there. And I kind of agree with that. Whether it was Trent going on the right and Walker on the left, or Saka going to the left, I wouldn't want Trent on the left because, you can't really rely on him defensively on the right-hand side, let alone the left. But we were kind of cornered into Saka being in that position. So I wouldn't necessarily take anything away from Palmer being on the right-hand side. However, I would have preferred Saka on, in his best position.
This is where I know we have a slight disagreement on how we do that. I have nothing against Palmer being in the team. He's a brilliant player, but that's not his position. He's not a right winger. He's, for me, someone who plays more number 10 or in the half space, a bit like kind of Ødegaard does at Arsenal. And like he does at Chelsea, Palmer, he doesn't play on the wing. He's allowed a kind of free roam, if you like, that kind of traditional 10.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, when he went on the wing today, he didn't really do a wing player's job. He didn't go out and stretch the team on the far corner. He kind of went out wide, but kind of middle-ish. So, and then he was looking at options.
Yeah, he didn't get the width that Saka would have. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
And he's also not direct in terms of taking players on left side, right side, that kind of thing, like a winger would. And that's not me criticising him because he's not a winger.
Yeah.
He should be fighting with Foden in the centre. But Bellingham's there, Foden's on the left.
Yeah.
It's all over the place in terms of how they're natural. You're talking about playing them in their best positions. Foden should not be on the left. We've said this before.
Yeah.
And Palmer shouldn't be on the right. I think those two should be fighting for the position of number 10, and you could start one, sub the other, and then vice versa, depending on the opposition in that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily fully disagree with that. I still think that because we were cornered into a position where we have no recognised fullback, Shaw clearly isn't physically fit and obviously isn't match fit because he hasn't played since February. And if he's not even relied upon to play a substitute role in the Slovakia game, then he's clearly just not going to be able to be relied upon for the entire tournament. And if he's the only...
It's kind of a wasted space, really, isn't it? Just having Shaw in the squad.
And if he's the only recognised left-back, then I would prefer Saka to stay on the pitch and be on the in the left-back position rather than just take him off in place of someone. Because a lot of people are just saying, take Saka off put Palmer on, I'd still want Saka to be playing a game. I think he could do a better role than what Trippier's been doing, because Trippier's been struggling.
He's still a winger.
Yeah,
and he's still got the ability, the pace, the strength, and to beat a man. And Trippier's a good player, but he's not a forward kind of direct going to take you on and beat a man, is he?
And Saka can hold. He can hold possession very well. It's actually quite difficult to get the ball off him a lot of times.
Yeah.
And Palmer has played on the right before for Chelsea, not that much, and he did do a decent role, I think. Got to give credit to Gareth. We didn't necessarily win because of the substitutions, but he did make substitutions at the very least. And
well done, Gareth.
Yeah, because that's another criticism that I have of his, is that he seems to bring players on in order to fix a problem that he's pretty much created. Usually,
self-inflicted.
Yeah, usually for a big team, they would bring on a player to kind of freshen up their players, because a lot of the opposition are tired. Then you bring on fast wingers or something, like Spain have done, for example, and really help out the attack. Whereas with Gareth, a lot of it seems to be he's caused a problem, like putting Gallagher in the middle, for example, to try and shore up the middle, which doesn't work, and I think most people would have agreed it wouldn't have worked anyway. And then he had to do a substitution to fix it. And in order to fix it, if you look at substitutions that are made around the 90th minute, there's only really two reasons to make substitutions then. It's either an injury or you're wasting time. If you're losing 1-0 against Slovakia and you're desperate for a goal, you don't then think, shall I bring Tony on in the 93rd minute or whatever? Should I bring Gordon on in the 93rd minute? It's those things. It's just ridiculous. There are times when he's supposed to be wasting time. Not, they should have been on half an hour ago.
There's such a limited opportunity for them to go and create something.
Yeah.
Tony's actually the kind of player who suits this system in a way, because it's disjointed. We end up lumping it forward from the back and just getting crosses in the box. Tony plays that way for Brentford. He's brilliant at keeping the ball active. He doesn't, he keeps the ball bouncing, so it's very difficult to clear for the defence.
Yeah.
But I think what we relied on today was it was individual brilliance, wasn't it? It wasn't a system that got us the win. We didn't look that dangerous. I don't think we had a shot on goal until we scored in the 90 whatever it was minute, when there was a moment of brilliance from Bellingham, which he has. He's a brilliant player. We've got loads of brilliant players. But like we've said, the system does not work.
Yeah,
it doesn't get the best out of them. We're hindering these great players.
Yeah, and the Southgate is having to fix the system with the substitutions, when actually he should have been getting the system right in the first place, and then just to help out to shore up the system with the substitutions. Yeah, it's just panic. Exactly. It feels like it's panic substitutions if he's bringing them off with a few minutes to spare, just going, quick, get on and do something. When actually he should have been half an hour ago, he should have been thinking, right, I need to change this, it's not working, let's do this, let's do that. Yeah, it's just so random. And I did like Tony being on there, because Kane is so slow, isn't he? He's never been a quick player.
Yeah, he does look, but he does look slower than normal, doesn't he?
Yeah, whereas Tony, in the 95th minute, he was shooting past the knackered Slovakian defenders. That's what we needed. That's what substitutions should be, and that should have been 20 minutes before.
You want to give them at least 15, 20 minutes, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
15 minutes is a bit short, but at least you're giving them a little bit of time to, 3 minutes isn't really going to do it. You're kind of relying on a last gamble, aren't you?
Yeah, especially with Gordon coming on. Was it against Slovenia or Denmark? He had 4 minutes, didn't he? I think it was Denmark. But
it was, yeah.
Yeah, it just made absolutely no sense. What is it you expected from a player in 4 minutes?
Also, we were talking about Saka at left back. During the week, he was interviewed and asked if they'd done any sort of prep. Was there any thought, like a plan B, Saka being left back? Because, having a left-footed left back is able to open the game up more. This is the issues that Trippier is having to face at the moment. Yeah. He's having to cut back inside every time because he isn't left-footed. Saka can go both ways. Wingers can in general. But that's one of the things. So you're getting Saka over that. Saka said in that interview, no, not really. Or certainly that's what he hinted at. He didn't want to give much away.
Yeah.
But then he was put left back today to accommodate for Palmer to go on. Did he look a bit bemused to you? He didn't seem to He looked when he was being asked to go over there. Oh, am I being asked to go over there? And he looked a bit.
He clearly wasn't too happy with it. I wouldn't necessarily say it's to accommodate Palmer. I think it's to fill the problem in left back more than anything else. Like I say, I don't think Southgate trusted Trent to be a defensive guy in the left-hand side, and couldn't trust Shaw to play any part. So I think it's more to fill up the left-hand side than it is to accommodate Palmer. But he definitely didn't seem happy with it, and it clearly doesn't look like they'd practiced that much.
That's the thing, yeah.
Again,
going back
comes down to
I know we've said it before, haven't we, about how it doesn't. He seems to be just listening to what the people, pundits and things. Ian Wright said, let's put Saka left back. And then, that's what people are saying, let's do that. People were saying, let's play Trent midfield. And so it's going back to that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, whenever the teams pick a Euros squad or World Cup squad or whatever, there are some teams that have not taken people in certain positions. Like, for example, the amazing Spain team in the early 2010s. They famously didn't really take a striker, did they? But the thing is, they didn't take a striker because they knew they had a certain style of play. There was a reason for it. Whereas I don't
see system,
I don't see a reason in not taking a fit, recognised left back. It doesn't make sense to me because he was always going to play a left back. So why not take a
if you're not going to do it? And the thing is, if we started with a back three or a different kind of system where we're not using a left back per se, I thought is it Konsa came on
Ezri Konsa
during the game, and I thought could he play there, or just have a more solid kind of back four.
Joe Gomez, for example, he was brilliant as left back, and he can play as centre back, so he'd be the perfect person to play if you were going to play a back three or something. Then he'd be brilliant to play that. But it goes back to this idea: is it the naivety? It's something that you have to put solely on Southgate's door, really, because you can't really.
We know the players are brilliant. Yeah, we know the players are individually brilliant, and Bellingham showed that, and so many other players have shown that, not just for England, but for their clubs. Yeah. So it's down to Southgate to put them in a position, put them in a style and a system that helps them to do that for England. There's no doubt that we've got some. Do you think this is maybe the best generation of English players we've seen in our lifetime? It's got to be close to the golden generation at least, isn't it?
It's got to be at least close. I would say, player for player, the team in 2004 or whatever, they could probably be better, but then again, the entire squad I think is different, and also we've said before, the competition in other countries is a lot lower than it was.
Is worse, so relative, we're in a much stronger position.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We talked a lot about the issues that we keep seeing with England. So shall we get on to the fixes, Sess?
Yeah, let's do that.
Right, Gareth. He's listening, right, Sess? We said so.
Oh yeah.
So here's what you need
at the
to
very
do.
least, if he's not going to do what we say, he's going to listen. So
hopefully he listens to all of it, not just bits and pieces, because there's a lot.
Yeah.
If we're saying something, it often links to something else. So don't just isolate. Oh well, they said I'll do this. This should keep them happy. They need to listen. Yeah. He needs to listen to what we're saying for the whole system, or don't listen to any of it.
Yeah.
So, what's your first fix, Sess? What do we need when we come up against even better opposition in the next round?
Well, firstly, I feel like a broken record, but we need to play our best players in the best positions.
You keep saying
I don't understand. Yeah, I do keep saying that, yeah. I just don't understand how many times we need to say this and how many times Gareth needs to listen to us saying it. Foden is not a left winger. He is a number 10, and every time he goes into the number 10 position, he does well.
Yeah.
And for the last few games, he's been pretty much our only shining light in attack. We haven't been able to see anything good out of Bellingham after the first game. We haven't seen much of Kane. Saka's kind of been on and off in a sense. Foden's the only one who's shown, for at least half a game every now and again, real talent in the number 10 position.
Yeah, it's looking.
So I think that's my first pick.
I think it's our players. Some of the players have looked good, but they've been individuals, haven't they? They haven't been able to link up with each other. Foden is. It's after this season, especially in the Prem, he's shown how good he is at number 10. So I completely agree. That's one of the key fixes. If you do that, though, to accommodate him there, that means Bellingham's moving. So is he moving to the bench, Sess, or are you moving him somewhere else?
No, I mean, he's not played well enough to be a certain starter. So I wouldn't be surprised. Well, no, I would be surprised if he is benched because I don't think Gareth would have the cojones. But I think he needs to go into the middle because he's still being judged. That he's not played well recently, fair enough, but we are judging him in a position that he is not best at. He is absolutely best in the middle on the number 8
sort
position.
More box to box kind of thing. Yeah.
Box to box, yeah. Tackling, on the turn, he can pick a good pass, he can carry the ball. That's all in the number 8 position. He can't really do that in the further up position he's in because he's going to be marked out of the game. He's going to be harried as soon as he gets the ball. When he's playing in that false 9 role for Real Madrid, it has to be that false 9. So the wingers, Vinicius and Rodrigo, would actually be able to cut in and be the attackers and open up the space for him.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing. Kane's in that position. So
the thing is, the number 10, and I mean, I have the experience and the speciality to be able to say this, being that I was number 10 for our Sunday League team. And that
you
is...
definitely... you could only play in that position because you refused anywhere else. And, oh no, it's number 10 or nothing for me. Oh, I refuse.
Bellingham, I completely agree. He's not a number 10. He can play there, but he's not a natural number 10. A number 10 is someone who links the play together and creates the openings, more through passing and maybe a bit of dribbling, a quick dart in between a few spaces, that kind of thing. Bellingham is someone who drives with the ball, can turn away from a player and, beat him for pace and that kind of thing. That's not a number 10. Like you say, it's box to box, given the ability to run out to the wings, if you like. Foden is the best number 10 we've got, in my opinion. He's someone who he's got the vision, he's got the finishing as well, he's got the sort of nimbleness to be able to just make space out of nothing. And that's what you need in that really tight area, especially in this tournament where there's just so little space. Every team's closing those spaces.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would agree. For me, it's Bellingham or Mainu, and I think it's start one, bench the other, depending on the opposition, and also resting as well. So they'd be next to Rice in the kind of more central kind of position, like you say. For me, Palmer and Foden are the two that need to be starting and benching between them. They're the two that need to alternate in the number 10 role. Okay. And for me, it's Gordon on the left. He's got the pace, so it's going to keep the defence kind of nervous with him. He can go both ways. He's right-footed, but he can go both sides, left side, right side. It's that kind of, like we said before, that kind of right-footed left winger on that side. We've got Saka, who's a left-footed right wing on the other, that inverted kind of winger, isn't it? And it kind of it creates so much on the inside, being able to link up. So that's the second change for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Gordon playing in that position. I also wouldn't mind Eze playing in that position either, because he seems to be more trusted by Southgate, and he did do well against Slovakia, didn't he? He brought, I don't know, he seemed like the only one that seemed confident.
He's certainly, he's got just that natural confidence, isn't he? He's able to beat a man out of nothing. He's not afraid to take them on. He has this
fearless streak. I've said, when we played football together, I quite often said, didn't I, that you just need to run at them, because quite often defenders don't like being run at.
No, they don't. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
and he's got the skill to be able to humiliate them and go left side, right side. Like I say, you want to keep the defenders guessing, because at the moment, like we say, Trippier's turning inside, and it's not his fault that he's doing a job, but it's easy to defend against. So it means we're very unbalanced. We're very right side heavy. So it'll open up the pitch a lot more spaces will emerge. So we absolutely got to do that. What do you think about the defensive line? Do you think we're better playing on the halfway line, because we did concede, or do we be more pragmatic?
I think that in the ideal world, we would have practiced the high line by now. But because we haven't, the problem is we're kind of stuck in the position where we do have to think about possibly being pragmatic. The one thing I would say against that, to be honest, actually, is that every time we play against a top team that we're not expected to win against, we've lost. So true. And we played pragmatically. So maybe this is, in all likelihood, going to be Southgate's last tournament. Why not give it a go? This is his best chance, because this is the best attacking team he's ever managed, and he probably ever will manage.
Agreed.
So maybe he should do a high press.
And we've got Walker, for me, we've got Stones, the pace, they're able to get back. I think if they just need to make sure they practice this all day, every day in training, whenever on the training pitch. Exactly. And there will be times when you need to change your system to soak up pressure when we're against the really top sides. And that's where that happens in any game of football, where you adapt to what's in front of you on the day. You're not just going to be attack for 90 minutes. There will be phases where you have to drop in and have a good defensive shape.
Yeah.
That's where coaching is involved.
Yeah, I know there's this idea, we could potentially win the tournament by just going 1-0 or getting to penalties. That's fair enough. But I wouldn't mind this idea that if we play a high press and we really give it a good go against, say, France, Spain, the big teams, but we come up short, fair enough. But if we play pragmatically and come up short, I think
feel it's a missed opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, I completely think that. Not just in the sense of, but you can say that because we lost. No, because we have the best attacking talent, some of the best attacking talent in the world. And then to lose pragmatically, I think I wouldn't really be able to accept that.
It would be a real shame. I mean, we have got, our strength is our defensive unit, so it's good to have that, but we should use that to drop into that shape when we need to. Like you say, today, we had that high line, and other than when we looked vulnerable for those reasons we mentioned, I thought we actually looked dangerous. So more of that, but we need the right personnel in the right positions, and I think that will give us a much better chance. So you're kind of half right, Gareth, so well done, but please listen to what else we've said. No, we do give him a lot of credit for what he has done, but it's just these kind of decisions, isn't it? And it'd be such a missed opportunity, like we said. So,
on a lighter note, can I point out the quarterfinals where we're playing against Switzerland? I don't know if anyone's ever noticed this, or whether there's any point in noticing it. But England, as you know, we're a red cross on a white flag. We're playing Switzerland, who are a white cross on a red flag.
That's well, you don't get any other podcast like that. I mean, this is educational.
Exactly. This is news. Yeah.
And just so you know, Xhaka, by the way, for Switzerland, how good is he?
Oh, Bayer Leverkusen legend. Yeah.
I think, since Arteta convinced him to stay at Arsenal and moved his position to bring out, again, it's putting him in his best position. He's not a defensive midfielder, but he was playing there under Unai Emery.
Ever since he realised that in order to win something, he needed to leave Arsenal, I think he's done brilliantly,
And on that bombshell, there we go. No, thanks, Cess. I might invite you back in future if you're lucky. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for all the love. We've we love it, don't we, Cess? All the likes and shares and comments and stuff we've had.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, from all around the world.
Yeah, as you say, we are global. But thanks for listening, everyone. Seriously, it means a lot to us. Please do share and help us to build our subscriptions, and we'll see you next time. So look out for our YouTube stuff as well, by the way. We've got all kinds of spin-off shows and games and stuff coming up on that where we have a good old laugh. So it's goodbye for me,
and it's a goodbye from me.